Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It is Thursday, the 22nd of July, and we have an absolutely jam-packed show for you today on the Daily Leeds. There is loads and loads to go through. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into it. Remember, it's all your latest news concerning Leeds United, everything at Elland Road, Thorp and all that jazz. Before we get into it, as always, please smash me a like on this video, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Let's get into it, baby! So guys, we're going to start first of all with, of course, the finally confirmed home strip. It's signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. It's Stevie Wonder Tackle. It has been confirmed. There it is in all its glory. Some familiar faces in there as well, Punjabi Whites. My main man, KG, as well, was involved in the advertising campaign for it, the video, which is absolutely class to see. Leeds-based rapper as well, who did the voiceover of it. Obviously, you've got Raf, Calvin, and Robin Koch there. They are a little bit closer. New sponsor as well, Box B, I think it is. It's actually a boiler firm you can see on the arm there. If I'm being totally honest, I don't mind it. I've seen a lot of people say they don't like that sponsor, but I think it looks pretty clean. That's just my opinion, though. Remember, football is a game of opinions, and fashion is a game of opinions as well. Is it a game? No, just fashion is about opinion, innit? Some people won't rock some of the stuff I would. Listen, I dig it. I dig it. When I first seen it on the mock-up images, I'm like, I'm not so sure. When you see it on a footballer, though, it just looks all that bit better. You know what I mean? I don't know what you guys are thinking, but for me, it's definitely a cop. It's not a drop. And when I've got some cash, I definitely will be purchasing it. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments, but I think it looks crisp and sweet. And it's also nice to see Rafinha not in a Liverpool shirt, you know, because all the people told us he played for Liverpool, right? He was going to sign for Liverpool this summer. I remember saying myself, if he does, I would get a tattoo of him in a Liverpool shirt. I was that confident, and there he is looking nice, crisp, and white in that nice shirt. Yeah, so that's your new shirt for you. I really like it. As you know, just 2 days ago now, I featured in a charity match for All Leeds TV against Leeds United media team. And our main man, Phil Miles, who organised it, big shout out to him as well. He said himself, I'd left at this point. I needed to get back to Sunderland. I'd spent a few days in Yorkshire. I needed to get home to my missus and my family, so I didn't stay around. But Phil got into not only Angus Kinnear, and he asked him a few questions. And here's some key talking points that Phil had mentioned to myself and put out on the Twitter sphere. He says, Angus has said Klaesson is a player we definitely like. We're very aware of Maxwell Cornet. Nothing on Farid Boulia. I believe when I spoke to Phil, his reaction was Farid, nah. Angus was like, nah. So it looks like that one's going really cold. And he said Victor was currently in Leeds, not Rome or Norway. And Phil got from what he was speaking to Angus that his money will be firmly on us signing Klaesson before pre-season kicks off next week. And that's all being confirmed as well by Jonas Adnan Gaiva, I think it is, a Norwegian journalist, has come out and said, I'm informed that the agreement between Leeds United and Vålerenga is close as far as Kristoffer Klaesson is concerned. So close that the goalkeeper has applied for a work permit and one expects it to go through. He went on to say he most probably expects this one to go into the box very, very soon. So Kristoffer Klaesson probably will be a Leeds player before the week is out, much like Lewis Bay of Chelsea as well. I think on Friday, at the latest, we'll get an influx of news on them two signings to say that they are confirmed. Just on Maxwell Cornet as well, while Phil mentioned that in his tweet after speaking with Angus, the guys at LUFC Fan Zone have been up to their old tricks again and said, look, we finally managed to find a source close to Maxwell Cornet. The source didn't want to be named, but he told LUFC Fan Zone, there are conversations with Leeds, but for now, especially after the arrival of Junior Firpo, the deal does not exist. They went on to say that the source told them that there had been no bid from Leeds. If you remember, it was being reported that we bid £10 million for Maxwell Cornet whilst we were chasing this left back. I still seen the links to Maxwell Cornet after we'd signed Thorp, and I'm thinking, right, okay, well, previously he's played in the attacking third, specifically off the left. It's only up until last season he's playing as a left back. Maybe we're still looking at him for that. But like the source close to Maxwell Cornet said, now that Thorp signed the deal, he's gone. And Leeds, and he confirmed that Leeds had never actually made a bid. Apparently Burnley is a possibility, but they were told that Maxwell Cornet does not fancy the move there. And can you blame him? Can you blame him? No disrespect. Burnley is no happy place. Remember the other day as well, I did put a poll out of the players that were continuously linked, the likes of Ryan Kent, Yokoslu, Herrera, Traore. And on that poll, 45% of you said that you would prefer Herrera, Yangel Herrera. Remember, Manchester City player, currently on loan at Granada. Well, that 45% of people may just be in luck because, again, LUFC Fan Zone had said they'd, reached out to his agent. Now, previously, they'd spoken to Yangel Herrera's agent, and he said that Leeds had made an approach to Manchester City about the possibility of signing him, okay? However, when they spoke to him this time, the agent refused to comment on the recent speculation of Leeds stepping up their interest in the player. So I find that quite interesting from my personal standpoint. Obviously, I'm, 2-2 and getting 10, but why previously was he happy to say that Leeds had made a bid or were inquiring about him, and now he's keeping tight-lipped? Has he been told to keep tight-lipped because a deal could be in the offing? Or has he been told to keep tight-lipped? Or has he made that decision to keep tight-lipped because he's seen what happened last time when LUFC Fan Zone published the information? I'm assuming they get the okay from the agent before they put it out in the Twitter sphere, because otherwise they would mess up relationships. But it's quite interesting now that Yangel Herrera's agent's saying, look, I don't want to comment on it. Why don't you want to comment on it? Is it because the deal is close? Maybe that 45% that voted in that poll may have their joy, because, like I say, Yangel Herrera is a player that I think is decent, and I would like to see come in if indeed we can make that deal happen. And the fact that his agent doesn't want to speak on it makes me think, okay, you did previously, now you don't. Why is that? But again, another person might look at that and just say he might be just palming him off. You just don't know. Another midfielder that we've been linked with in the last 48 hours is, of course, Jens Kajusta from Midtjylland, I'm going to go with, because SC Midtjylland. Do you know what, right? You absolutely hammered me yesterday for saying Midtjylland. I had so many good jokes. Guys, please go back and check the comments on yesterday's video. Some of the jokes were brilliant. I'm not going to say it. Yeah, I think one of them was, he plays for Midtjylland. That's not a big team. Just, there were some beauties, but I'm going to go with it anyway. You don't come here for eloquence, do you? You just come for my opinion. But yeah, the SC Midtjylland midfielder Jens Kajusta. Of course, it was being reported in Denmark just yesterday that Leeds were interested in the young Swedish international midfielder. However, LUFC Fan Zone have spoken to someone very close to him, and he says, look, the player does have serious interest from the Premier League. We're seeing Newcastle, we're seeing Wolves, but apparently Leeds United is not one of them clubs. There has not been any contact between Leeds United and Jens Kajusta, so we'll have to wait and see on that one. But from what LUFC Fan Zone are telling us and what I'm seeing is that Leeds aren't actually in a bidding war. I think Newcastle are currently the latest ones to be linked to him, but I know Wolves, Southampton maybe. But apparently, yeah, he will be coming to the Premier League, you'd imagine, but it won't be at Leeds United. Again, we're still in the dark with this centre midfielder. Who is it, man? Who is it, man? We heard from The Athletic as well, Phil here. He said that finishing touches were being applied to Bielsa's contract. He's been house hunting in spring. Does that mean the contract may be longer than 1 year? Fingers crossed. There were reports that he hasn't even taken a day off this summer. The squad have undergone deep mental and physical analysis during pre-season, and the pitch that's been laid at Elland Road, there has been an exact replica created at Thorp, a 1.5 million hybrid pitch at both locations, which can only be a good thing, right? Like the Leeds United players will be training on the same basically pitch that they're going to be playing on every week. That's only going to improve Leeds United's football for me. So that's the latest on Bielsa. As I say, once that contract is signed, none of us are concerned. But when it is signed, I will update you ASAP. Again, we heard from Adam Newsom, who is a Chelsea FC correspondent. He said Lewis Bates' move to Leeds is almost done. He has said goodbye to people at Chelsea. Look, much like Kristoffer Klaesson, Lewis Bates, I expect to be done by Friday at the latest. A potential outgoing, though, guys. Apparently, several clubs in Europe are reportedly ready to pounce on Leeds under-23 winger Kristoffer. That's a mouthpiece. Kristoffer Somerville. Apparently, they're waiting to see if Leeds United will allow Somerville to go out on loan. There are clubs in Belgium and in Holland that want to launch bids for the 19-year-old if he is allowed to leave temporarily this summer. So that can only be a good thing as well, I think. You know, I don't know if Somerville's going to be close enough to the first team. We have quite an abundance of wingers. We want to go and get another, which might find it hard for Somerville to get anywhere close to the first team. I think someone of his age, he's clearly got talent. Maybe a loan over in Belgium or Holland will do him good. And again, it just further adds to that, the strength of the under-23s in the academy that we're creating. Because look at a club like Chelsea, they do exactly the same. Normally send them out to Verona or wherever it is, they always turn up. I know it's not Verona. The name escapes me. Lewis Baker's been there. Jamal Black. Vitesse Arnhem, it came. See, it came back in there. Vitesse Arnhem. But Leeds United are following a similar sort of thing. And why not? Because Somerville can go out and get first team football. He'll probably light it up and then he's got a chance at Leeds United. If he hasn't got a chance, it's probably a big sell-on value for what we paid for him. I'm not saying that he hasn't got a future at Leeds because I believe he has. But there are a number of clubs waiting in the wings to pounce to say, look, we're ready to take this kid. We're ready to take this kid. We're now going to move on to a Q&A that was done by Beren Cross of Leeds United Live. Of course, whenever, Phil, Graham or Beren speak, my ears prick up. These are the guys closest to it for me. Of course, Fabrizio Romano for me is the one. But again, Leeds United, with the clubs that he deals with, is probably a small, minute thing. Whereas Beren, Graham and Phil, that's their bread and butter. So when these guys speak, it's well worth taking note. So I'm going to pick out some of the key points from Beren Cross's Q&A. So the question was asked, hi Beren, was wondering who the new centre midfielder will be as pre-season games are coming up next week. Also, the Noah Lang talk has cooled a little, and now I'm seeing the talk of Adama Traore again, which I'm guessing is pure speculation. It's probably me that's doing this. Maybe this guy watches my video and he's like, yo, Joe's talking about Adama, tell me. I'm joking. But yeah, Beren says, look, there has not been much out there on who the mystery centre midfielder might be up to now. It's fair to say a lot of names have been linked in recent days, but they have all been knocked back and refuted by sources at the club. So all these midfielders that have been linked in the last 24, 48, 72, bloody 7 days, 14 days, have all been refuted by the club. Farid Boulia being one of them, even last night by Angus to Phil. He goes on to say Lang has a lot of admirers across Europe, Noah Lang. Club Brugge are in a strong bargaining position, with him only recently signing a permanent deal this summer after the year-long loan. So it may mean Leeds have to wait until late in the window to see if they want to pursue him. And then just finish with Traore doesn't seem to fit the current bill, as I understand it. And I don't think he does either. I know there's a lot of Leeds United fans. Some of them message me, are massive on Traore. But genuinely, I was watching Talking Shot actually last night, and I think Gary put it perfect. It's Hadi Sakho on steroids. It is. It really is. I don't rave about him. Of course, if you brought him in, he would have my backing, but I just don't see it happening. The winger, like I say, as Beren mentioned there, Noah Lang, we know he's one that Leeds United like. I think Leeds United like Dan James. I think they like Ryan Kent. I think they like Noah Lang. They seem to be the ones for me. We've not heard from Kuna. I think we all accept that's not going to happen now. But it all depends on moving parts. Do Club Brugge want to cash in late and on the window? They don't need to. Do Manchester United look at Dan James and think, we've got Sancho, maybe we move him on? So the club will wait for that. The main one from that question, though, is that centre midfielder. No one has a clue. No one has a clue. So hopefully we find out soon enough. And on the centre midfield, another person asked, is Lewis Bay likely to be our only midfielder addition this summer in that centre midfielder role? And Barron said, I would doubt that. A centre midfielder is still an important acquisition for Bielsa and Orta. For me, now it's number one, isn't it? We've got that second choice keeper. We've got Bate coming in for the under-23s. We now need that midfielder because I think they're happy with the wingers. You know, I think they're happy. Of course, they would like to get another, but if they don't, I think they'll be okay. So we'll have to wait and see. But Barron said Bate will largely be for the under-23s rather than the centre midfielder being discussed for the first team. So we can all be safe in the knowledge that Leeds United still want that main man to come in and help out in midfield. Another question was, will Leeds look to the loan market at all, with Harrison now on a permanent deal allowing for other Premier League loans? Or is the focus on spending what they believe to be on good value? I think good value is a good point because a lot of people give stick to Leeds United and Orta for finding bargains, but that's what we need to do. Just because a player's a bargain doesn't mean he's not good, if that makes sense. But Barron said, I was speaking to someone earlier about transfers, not connected to Leeds, and they said there had been a slow move in the Premier League towards taking players on a one-year loan before then securing them on a multi-year permanent deal. And that means that they can then spread the transfer fee across the length of the contract, much like we did with Helder Costa, for example. And he just went on to say, I don't think Leeds would rule anything in or out. If the player they really wanted was on loan or a permanent deal, it wouldn't matter. They would get it done. He says, you would sense permanent deals are more sensible if you're planning to improve the player and increase their transfer value in the long term. But if they need a gap filling with a player Bielsa likes and a loan is the only way to do it, then Orta and Bielsa and the club are not going to balk at that idea. You know, so I don't think it really matters in today. I suppose you could look at the Ben White situation. We created a monster. He's now going to Arsenal for 50 million. That was a kick in the teeth that Brighton wouldn't sell to us, you know, and we made him what he is. Had he not come to Leeds United, he wouldn't be where he is now. Personally, he would have got there eventually, maybe. But Bielsa really, you know, skyrocketed his progress, much like he's done with a lot of players in this club, not least Calvin Phillips. So, yeah, there is that. I prefer permanent, but of course, say, for example, Man United say to us about Dan James, I think, look, you can have him for a loan at first, and then they probably would accept it. We'll have to wait and see. I know I keep mentioning Dan James, but I think Bielsa's really big on him. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Next question was, hi, Baron, we have been linked with so many players during this transfer window, as it always seems, and one never knows which way to turn amid all the conflicting reports. 1 minute we are in for a player, then another report says we're never in for him, and it's all speculation. I think this guy's definitely watching these videos. He said, in your opinion, do you have any idea of a player or players that you feel we have true, concrete interest in and that could come to fruition? Or do you think it will be a case like last season with Rafinha, where it came pretty much out of the blue on the 11th hour? Quite a lot in that. So Baron responded was, the goalkeeper Leeds have been linked with, which is Kristoffer Klaesson, is understood to be legitimate. The one does seem to have legs, given how freely they're talking about it at Vålerenga. We know that that's going to be done. I'm safe to say I put my house on that stuff now that we get Kristoffer Klaesson done. He says, Noah Lang is someone they have long been linked with, and I am led to believe they do like him, but along with a dozen other clubs across Europe. So I think Noah Lang is that number one, isn't he? Noah Lang is the number one winger. He said the centre midfielder seems harder to call at the moment, and the club are keeping their cards close to their chest. You'd imagine maybe to ward off any other interest from other teams. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe it's Yangel Herrera, and that's why his agent's refusing to speak on it. I don't know. But Baron went on to say, as you say, Rafinha is a great example of the way the club would like to do business, swiftly and privately, with the outcome they want. And what, can you blame them? No, you can't. Victor Orta is a master at what he does. Last question on the Baron Cross Q&A was, hi, Baron, do you know if Adam Forshaw has been involved in pre-season training at all? Which I get questions of daily. So big shout out to them that have been asking that. We've got an answer for you. The question goes on to say, what are your thoughts on the chance of Dan James finally arriving now that Sancho is a done deal for Manchester United? He says, I think Bielsa would turn him into some player, and that could be a loan with obligation option to buy now that we have a free loan spot. I love this question. I'm bang on with this guy. Baron says, as of yesterday, I was told he had been involved in training. So that's Adam Forshaw is involved in training. Baron went on to say, it is a great sign. I think a lot of us would be on board with that. I think Adam Forshaw is equipped to play in the Premier League better than he was in the Championship. He had a great season at Middlesbrough in the Premier League. It's just whether or not he's got the legs for it now. Fingers crossed he has, because he would be a great addition, a great squad player. Baron goes on to say, we will obviously learn a lot more when we see the squads Bielsa puts out in the friendlies next week. They come in, I think Tuesday night is the first one, coming thick and fast. And he then went on to say, Bielsa liked Dan James in 2019. He's likely to still rate him now. It's a similar dynamic with Ryan Kent. Bielsa won't stop liking players just because they move elsewhere. Whether he's someone Leeds will pursue in this window, I can't be sure. There is chatter about wanting a winger, and I'm sure his name would be in the conversation, but Man United would want to make profit on him. And as we have seen with Rafinha, Orta loves a bargain on the continent. So maybe we could be priced out of it. I've seen some comments on one of my polls saying 80 million, 60 million, 40 million. Genuinely, that's never happening. I don't think Manchester United are daft enough to think they can get that. I think the figure of 15, 16 that was bandied about is more like it. But yeah, look, it's clear Ryan Kent and Dan James are, Bielsa's a big fan of. And if this is what I'm saying about it being late in the window, if we can't get Noah Lang done and then the call comes in, look, James is available, look, Ryan Kent's available for X amount, Leeds will probably have a nibble. Just some unrelated sort of Leeds United news now, just to finish up. Alioski has been linked with a move to Trabzonspor. Fingers crossed he makes that move. Obviously, it's still yet to be resolved. And apparently over the weekend, we seen the talks between that club didn't go well and have broken down, which I am absolutely over the moon of, because let me categorically say, I really like Gianni Alioski. I don't want him to move to that club, so I can still have that love for that guy. Do you know what I mean? So it's been reported in a Turkish outlet, Fotomak, I think that's how you say it. It sounds like a swear word, doesn't it? Fotomak, that he is close to a move to Trabzonspor, and they are openly looking to sign him now. He should have just stayed at Leeds United. He'd have been in pre-season, getting well, getting ready for the new season. The way he's going, he won't even have a football club, and he'll have to come back with his tail between his legs. But yeah, he needs to. I hope it gets sorted for him. I just don't want him going to that football club. And just to finish, as I said earlier, Leeds are delighted to announce that We Are Box T, which is a boiler company, are our new official sleeve partner. So it'll be JD and We Are Box T, which you can see on this photo here. Look, there is the across from the Premier League sign, we have the Box T sponsorship, which is a boiler company. I know. It's a bit of a mad one, but I think the actual sponsorship on the arm looks pretty clean. I don't know what you guys think. But listen, if you've watched right to the end, thank you so much. It was a jam-packed show. There was loads in this, and that's what I love. Meat on the bones, you know? None of this YFC stuff. We're talking KFC, you know? This was KFC, a lot of meat on the bones. But thank you, as always, for watching. Before you do leave, smash a like on it, subscribe, comment, and hit the notification bell, and I'll see you in a bit, and have a great day. Peace out now. Leeds.